Hello and welcome to the second episode of the podcast, The Monk Who Loved History. This video has three sections, 2 minutes each. In 1790, after spending nearly 6 years in India, Johan Zoffany was returning to England on a ship named Rose. But a storm hit in the Bay of Bengal. Terrific wind blew, violent waves crashed against the ship, and it sank. Zoffany, along with few other passengers, survived and reached a small island. There was no human settlement and no food. After a few days, the survivors were desperate and turned to cannibalism. Yes, they killed one amongst them and ate him. That saved their lives. Few days later, a passing ship saw them and rescued. The ship brought them back to Europe. Now, the story of the cannibalism leaked to the public. It was reported in newspapers and became a major scandal. But have you noticed the coincidence? Zoffany's ship was called Rose, and so was the heroine of Titanic. Clearly, there is a long-standing connection between Rose and shipwreck. Did Zoffany only paint during his 6 years in India? Zoffany wasn't just a painter, he was also a relentless collector. He collected old Indian weapons, Indian costumes, ancient manuscripts, Mughal miniature paintings, tribal tools, stuffed animals and birds, and most curiously, human skull and bones. His critics believed that this was an expression of Zoffany's perverse taste. But Zoffany said, to understand the structure of the body, one must study its bones. Interestingly, we find the same idea during Renaissance in the works of Leonardo da Vinci. The Vitruvian Man is a famous drawing by da Vinci depicting a nude man inscribed within a circle and a square. It's considered a study of human proportions. He went a step farther in converting his room into a functional mortuary, dead bodies strewn all across. Some say Zoffany even brought back few bones of the guy whom they ate during the shipwreck. Whatever the case may be, later on he used many of his collected items as props in his paintings, which gave it a certain macabre atmosphere to his artworks. As was customary of all the visiting Sahib logs of that time, Zoffany visited Lucknow. There he painted Lucknow nobility and few British patrons. Let's quickly see a couple of exhibits from Zoffany's paintings. First up, Colonel Mordaunt's Cockmatch, painted in Lucknow. A court painting which shows a lively cockfight in Nawab Asafuddaullah's court. Nawab is enjoying alongside British officers. But look closely. Nawab Asafuddaulah stands reverentially while the British officials dominate the scene. What Zoffany captures is not sport, but the performance of colonial power. Zoffany's brush whispers, Mughal authority is in decline. Oh, and amidst all these people, there's Zoffany himself at the background, a very Subhash Ghai-like cameo entry in many of his creations. Next up is John Pollier and his friends, another Lucknow set painting. Here, Zoffany gathers a group of East India Company officers, their Indian servants, and exotic props. One figure stands out, Claude Martin, founder of La Martiniere School. A very controversial character, but we are not getting into that story right now. Look at the background. Yup, that's our Subhash guy. But what's that chimpanzee doing there? Now the final exhibit. In the style of Da Vinci's Last Supper, Zoffany painted his own Last Supper sitting in Calcutta. But there's a twist. He painted the faces on famous personalities of that time. Jesus on Father Constant, a Greek priest, Judas on William Tullow, an auctioneer, and so on. When the painting was inaugurated, a huge controversy rose around all the characters. But one case stands out, the face of St. John. It was modelled after the police magistrate of that time, W.C. Blackery. This police magistrate used to ride around different parts of Calcutta at night in women's disguise, catching thieves, robbers, and murderers. Just visualize a gang of robbers who are sitting and drinking local hooch after a successful loot, and a beautiful lady suddenly appears from the dark, clad in red sari, with bangles and a bindi, and shouts, "Hands up!" However, the picture reminded me of the book, The Da Vinci Code, and the dark controversies surrounding Mary Magdalene. Whatever the case may be, imagine if someone mocked the police magistrate like this today. He would surely be in jail, Chucky pissing and pissing. One final question before we end. If the name is Last Supper, then where has all the food gone? There are three references from the Da Vinci Code in today's episode. Let me know in the comment section how many you could find. If you like this podcast, do share this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you soon in a very interesting snippet from the pages of history. Ki holo? Oh, I forgot to tell who Zoffany was. Zoffany was the court painter of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in Vienna. During his time, the court musician was none other than Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. By the way, all the background music of this podcast are Mozart's composition. Ciao!